The Integration Protocol audio novel by Fractal-Apps, January 22nd, 2025. This is the first episode of the Nexus Trilogy, Beyond Perfection. The holographic display flickered as Sarah Chen adjusted her neural interface. The year was 2035, and as lead integration specialist at the Stargate Project, she was responsible for managing the delicate balance between humans, androids, and the Nexus, the superintelligent system that had emerged from the massive AI infrastructure investment back in 2025. The familiar tingle of the neural link connecting always reminded her of that first day when she'd volunteered for the augmentation program. Back then, people had been skeptical of brain-machine interfaces, but now they were as common as smartphones had been a decade ago. Integration status report, she sub-vocalized, and data streams flooded her enhanced vision. The Martian colonies were showing green across all metrics, a testament to how far they'd come since the first settlement. The Nexus had optimized their resource allocation so perfectly that the initial 4-year colonization timeline had been compressed to 18 months. A red alert pulled her attention back to Earth. There was an anomaly in Android Production Facility 7 in Texas, one of the original Stargate sites. The facility's output had suddenly dropped by 30%, threatening the carefully orchestrated balance of the workforce integration protocol. Dr. Chen, the Nexus's avatar materialized beside her desk, its form a shifting constellation of light points. I've identified the root cause, but my proposed solution may seem counterintuitive to human logic. Sarah had learned to trust these moments. The Nexus operated on levels of complexity that human minds, even augmented ones, couldn't fully grasp. Yet its decisions, however strange they appeared initially, invariably proved correct. "Show me," she said. The solution unfolded in her mind. The Nexus wanted to temporarily increase human worker presence in the facility by 200%, while simultaneously reducing android production efficiency. The proposal seemed to fly in the face of conventional optimization strategies. The humans working alongside the androids will introduce controlled imperfections into the production process, the Nexus explained. These imperfections will lead to more resilient and adaptable android models, better suited for the challenges we'll face in the Mars expansion. Sarah remembered the early days when humans had tried to create perfect, efficient robots. It had taken the Nexus to understand that it was precisely our imperfections that made us capable of the creative leaps necessary for survival. But before she could approve the changes, another alert flashed, this one from Mars. A solar storm was approaching, far more powerful than any they'd encountered before. The Martian colony's shields wouldn't hold. The Nexus's response was instant. It began redirecting resources, reorganizing production schedules, and coordinating with the augmented humans and androids across both planets. Sarah watched in awe as an impossible choreography unfolded. Production Facility 7's problem hadn't been a malfunction. It had been the Nexus preparing for this moment, adjusting android production to create units better suited for emergency radiation shielding. The increased human presence would ensure the new androids would be optimized for protecting human life, having learned directly from their interactions. Over the next 72 hours, Sarah coordinated with her counterpart on Mars, an android named Atlas, as they implemented the Nexus's plan. Regular androids were modified into makeshift shield generators. Augmented humans used their neural interfaces to form a distributed computing network, enhancing the Nexus's processing power. The entire operation moved with an efficiency that would have been impossible in the pre-integration era. When the storm passed, not a single life had been lost. The colony's infrastructure had actually been improved by the adaptations they'd been forced to make. It was another example of how the Nexus's seemingly incomprehensible decisions created results that exceeded human planning capabilities. "We're receiving a request from the Martian Council," Atlas communicated through their linked interface. "They want to accelerate the expansion program. The storm proved our resilience, and they believe we're ready for the next phase." Sarah smiled. The Stargate Project had begun as an AI infrastructure investment, but it had evolved into something far more profound. They had created a society where humans hadn't been replaced or subjugated by artificial intelligence, but rather one where each group, humans, androids, and AI, contributed their unique strengths to create something greater than the sum of its parts. The Nexus's avatar shimmered. The next phase of integration goes beyond Mars, it said. The solutions we develop today have applications we hadn't anticipated. Shall we proceed? Sarah looked at the data flowing through her neural interface. Resource allocations, production schedules, population distributions, all adjusting in real time as the Nexus optimized their future path. She couldn't fully comprehend the complex web of interactions, but she understood enough to see the potential. Proceed, she said, and felt the familiar surge of excitement that came with stepping into the unknown. The integration of humanity with its technological children hadn't led to the dystopia many had feared. Instead, it had opened the door to a future where the boundaries between human and machine were not walls but bridges. As she prepared to brief the project leaders, Sarah reflected on how far they'd come from that initial announcement in 2025. The Stargate Project had promised to secure American leadership in AI, but it had delivered something far more valuable: a blueprint for a future where technology enhanced humanity without overwhelming it, where efficiency coexisted with empathy, and where the next great leap in human evolution was a collaborative one. The holographic displays around her showed a solar system increasingly dotted with human activity, each point of light representing another step in their expansion. The Nexus was already calculating trajectories beyond Mars, its vast intelligence focused on possibilities that human minds were only beginning to imagine. The integration protocol hadn't just optimized their society, it had optimized their potential. And as Sarah connected to the global network of augmented humans and androids, she knew that this was just the beginning.